Welcome to the channel, Dave Matthews Band fans. My name is Sohum, and today we are going to be doing another triple reaction, and we've got three songs that I think you all are going to love: Old Dirt Hill, Crush, and Number 41. Now, if you are a subscriber to the channel and enjoy my DMB reactions, you should probably know that I've already reacted to Crush very early on in my journey, and Number 41. I think now this is my third or maybe fourth time checking out Number 41, so it's always pleasurable to me to find new versions. And the first one that we're going to be checking out, Old Dirt Hill, is the only one that I haven't heard from before, so I'm excited to listen to this today. But before we jump in, a big thank you to Craig the Open-Minded, whose generous support made this reaction possible. You know, I took one of those personality quizzes one time. Well, not one time, but one of the times that I took a personality quiz. My result on open-mindedness came back at like, I think 98 out of 100. It was really like 98, 99, 100. I'm super open-minded apparently. But either way, I'm excited to check these out, so let's jump in. I look very shiny this morning, don't I? I don't know why. We got our handy dandy Tim and Dave duo.
Ride my bike down the old dirt hill.
Whoa, there's something in that voice today.
The first time without my training wheel. And the first time I kissed you, I lost my leg. Bring that beat back to me again. Screaming, shouting, loud, oh, innocent. In the days when all we did would never end.
The melody keeps ascending.
Smoking under the railroad bridge. You know, I used to ride my bike down that old dirt hill. The first time I kissed her, I lost my legs. But you bring that beat back to me again. Screaming, shouting, loud, oh, innocent.
Wow.
In the days when all we did would never end.
See, the thing is, I absolutely love what they're doing acoustically with their guitars, and it kind of like draws my attention to Dave's voice, which you guys know I love Dave's voice, but even more specifically, I'm focusing on the lyrics now. And not that it wasn't a thought that occurred to me prior, but I love the storytelling nature of Dave Matthews, and it's not just like the stories he tells, it's the way he tells them. The words he chooses, like, I lost my legs. I don't know, that one line immediately, it makes sense to me. It is an idiom, right? So people do understand what it means to like lose your legs in a moment, like when you kiss your crush for the first time. It's something, there's something so like earnest and honest and just real and raw, I guess, about all of the lines in Dave Matthews Band songs. They don't feel corny, tacky, overly poetic. They like strike this incredible, amazing balance. Do you guys feel the same way?
It would never end. Screaming down that old dirt hill.
It's like casually poetic.
Bring that beat back to me again. Bring that beat back to me again. But you know when it gets hard, it's when the days I remember, baby, seem so far away. I was just a kid, but that's what I miss. And it was just one kiss, but that's what I miss. Won't you take me back to that beat again? Smoking under the railroad bridge.
I really like this.
Don't you bring that beat back?
Oh, there's a little delay in the rhythm right there.
Don't you bring that beat back to me again? But you know when it gets hard,
This chord,
is
man.
when the days I remember, they seem so far away. I was just a kid, and that's what I miss. I was just a kid, but that's what I miss. Come on, take me back to that beat again.
Beautiful. I love the way the chords are walking, and then that Tim solo with just the subtle bends and then the occasional like out of key note that he's hitting but then returns back to a bend. A lot of character in a solo like that, even though it's rather simple. I think all things considered, right, when you compare an acoustic guitar solo to electric, you're always going to get quote unquote a simpler solo that's just on a balance of probabilities, not all the time. And then Dave surging through with the falsetto. And just all the while, you can hear the consistent chugging of those chords. His guitar, it sounds so full, right? Excellent arranging here, too. Or not arranging, mixing here. I guess arranging as well.
Say it all, oh no. I was a boy.
There's so much movement in Tim's guitar.
That's because I change it every time. Because see, I screw that end of that song up every time because I play the end, even though it's so straightforward, I change it every time. So we never end up on the same chord because I'm always changing it because I don't know what I'm doing. And then that, so, because that was the first time that we ever ended on the same chord.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm going to cry. It's so sweet.
Now we're talking. So yeah, this is an older story. Whenever I tell this story, just so people sort of understand the kind of people that I'm talking about, I'm talking a little story, just a quick story about an experience I had that inspired this next song.
As a kid, story time was my favorite time. I would have loved Dave as my teacher.
I was with my wife and kids and some friends, and we were traveling around Southern Africa. And we went to visit these. Hold on a second. I haven't finished yet. The story might be awful.
Yeah, true.
We visited because we were very lucky to know someone who knew someone, and we had their right amount. We had a check with us and stuff. But we got to go we got to go visit with these people. They're called the Khoisan people. Now they're sort of what, if I think if for you to picture it, I usually say Bushmen, but that's wrong because, I don't think the Khoisan people like to be called Bushmen. It's like the first thing that came to whoever met them's mind is Bushmen. But anyway, they're not even actually the people that we call Bushmen, but there's a similarity, so I often say that so you know what I mean. But so to correct the record of things I've said, they're actually called the Khoisan people. When we went to visit these people, it was the dry season, and there's not a lot, if you picture this sort of low bush everywhere, occasional trees that come out. It's dry. I mean dry, it's like so dry that if one of us, for instance, water-soaked people, if you didn't have any water with you for a few hours, then you would die.
Jesus.
It's dry, real dry. But anyway, we met these people and we had those different experiences with them. Like we went foraging for they sort of call it farming. They kind of nurture the certain plants, and they can see a little twig sticking out of nowhere, and they can find water in a tuber. It's unbelievable. These people are unbelievable how they can survive where there's nothing. Apparently, nothing. They eat good too. We had some snacks. They're popping things out of trees and eating these things. It's like, this is good. This is good. And you wouldn't eat some of these things when you just look at them. You say, you can't eat that. Sure enough, eat it. Lemony, fresh, and delicious. And we're walking around.
You could definitely sell me something on like QVC or infomercial.
Lemony, fresh, and delicious. And we're walking around with these people, and my wife and I just drinking water because it's dripping down our face because you're thirsty. You got someone's carrying a backpack just full of water. They're not even just looking at us like, who is that? They laugh hysterically all the time, and I was like, they're laughing at us. They're laughing look at this big, hairy, fat guy over here, They're looking at me, and they say, well, water-soaked, sweating, and red, and we're just walking, and they're just laughing. There's this amazing people, but one evening, my daughters had my daughters with me, and they started around this fire. They're tending the fire. These women sit in a circle, start clapping their hands and singing this just unbelievable music that sounds like music before. I can't describe it. I couldn't even describe it to myself. I couldn't even moan along thinking, what is going on? It was outside of any scales I'd ever heard. It was unbelievable music. It was so beautiful, but it was so beyond anything I'd ever heard. It was just profound. And I was asked, what's this song about? Oh, it's about the rainy season. What's this song of Translators? What's the song about? Oh, this is about zebra when they come in their herds. I say, well, what do the words say? They say there are no words to these songs because these songs we've been singing since before people had words. And I was like, whoa,
yeah.
To remember that you've been singing a song since before words?
Without words, yeah, that's insane.
And the thing is, when these people said it, there was no question that they were telling the truth. It was like, telling you that the sun's going to rise. It was nothing. And the women would sing these songs and clap in these amazing grooves, and then the men would do these dances around. These small people, they call themselves big, but I think their size thing is maybe more about life experience than it is about actual height. Because I have to admit that even though I towered over everybody there and probably could have, eaten one of them and still had room for dessert, I felt tiny. I feel like a tiny little sweaty thing. That's what I felt like. They were just giant. And men would dance around. Every once in a while, they'd grab you and they'd clean you out. Just like, oh my God, we're gonna. And I grabbed one guy's legs because I thought he was going to knock me over. And it felt like I was holding on to like some kind of like electric cable. It was just like, good grief. That's a little tiny man, but there's no way I wouldn't have a chance if he decided to go to my ass, But then they were singing this music that blew my mind. And then these men started going into trances. And we were looking at each other like, maybe we should call a doctor. My daughters were staring at these guys like, this is the most unbelievable thing. They could not, my daughters were not afraid. It was very foreign. They were just, oh my God, so sort of being comfortable, because my daughters were so comfortable, for hours listening to these people, just right in the middle, in the circle, fire blazing, people dancing around. The one guy ate the fire. I'm not kidding you. He stuffed his hands into the hottest fire that was ever on the planet, and he just, into the middle of it, picked it up and just went, and ate the coals. He blew into his hand like this, and flames came out of his fingers, from between his fingers, like, and I was like, oh, good. And then he went, and then he said, just carried on grooving. And then this blew my mind. But these songs came out. So I tried to, for myself, describe what these songs were, in my simple way, trying to figure out, walking on the beach a few days later with my daughter, and she's slapping my head, and I was singing this thing. It sort of turned into a different song. It was sort of like closer to like blues, but it was just my homage to meeting what I think, in a strange way, are the most advanced people on the planet, and it was just a magic experience. If I could impart it to you, they've been there, they gave birth to God almost. It's just the most unbelievable people that you've ever seen.
Wow. I would listen to hours of Dave telling stories, and I love that last line. They gave birth to God. It feels like the way he's describing these people he met, it's like they are so in touch with a different part of humanity than we have access to in our more, let's say, quote unquote modern civilization. It's just interesting. We need more unique cultural experiences like that. Anytime you do enter like an entire different world culturally, there's a shock, right? That's why the phrase cultural shock exists, and you get that in music as well. There's been so many songs and genres. Honestly, listening to the Dave Matthews Band was a form of cultural shock for me, and you wouldn't understand it at first. It defies reality, and then slowly but surely, with more repetitions and exposure to that work, I think it would make more and more sense. It was also super cool that he mentioned that this style of singing and music preceded language. Bruh. I mean, you don't need words for songs, right? You can have instrumentals. You can kind of just hum along to know words, and it works. But the way Dave communicated that just, again, defies reality. It's so interesting to me. I guess one final comment is like the cynical, I don't know if you would call it cynical, but I'll say the cynical part of me would be like, man, if I brought my tape recorder to a musical performance like this, then I could retroactively listen to what they were playing and understand these unique scales that are indecipherable in the moment. But the other part of me thinks, well, it's probably better just to leave it as a one-off experience and try to recreate it. And if I want to listen again, I'm going to go back and re-expose myself. But that was really cool. I was not expecting us to get story time from Dave, so I'm very happy. Let's check out the Crush song here. Let's do it. Before we reacted to the Central Park Crush, the melodies and the bass.
Crazy how it feels tonight. Crazy how you make it all alright. Crush me with the things you do.
I love that melody.
And I'll do for you anything to sitting, smoking, feeling high.
Oh, I love that.
And in
Did I? It's such a simple but beautiful melody. Nobody goes for simple but beautiful, but Dave, they find a way.
this moment, oh, it feels so right. Lovely lady, I'm at your feet. Oh, God, I want you so badly. And I wonder this, could tomorrow be so wondrous as you there sleeping? Let's go,
Now you
drive
know.
till morning come. Watch the sunrise and fill our souls up.
No, no, no.
We'll drink some wine till we get drunk.
The way I would describe this song is that it's just casually beautiful, which earlier I said Dave is casually poetic. So there's a lot of casualness that I've been noticing, but it's like the Drunken Master aesthetic where they're so casual that they're so good.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm thinking, just knowing that the world is round, and here I'm dancing on the ground. Am I right side up or upside down? And is this real or am I dreaming? Lovely lady, let me drink you. Drop, no, I promise you. Lying under this spell you cast on me. Each moment, the more I love you. Crush me, come on.
I remember this from the Central Park show.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's crazy. I'm thinking, just knowing that the world is round, and here I'm dancing on the ground. Am I right side up or upside down? Is this real or am I dreaming?
Sun is too bright. Face.
Lovely lady, I will treat you sweetly, adore you. I mean, you crush me, and it's times like these when my faith I feel. I know how I love you. Come on. Come on.
You know, I really I want to ask the question, do you prefer the studios or the lives? My expectation for your answer on average will be that everybody prefers Dave Matthews lives, but there's something so, I guess, polished about the studio versions of their songs. It just is like a bite-sized, perfectly juicy bite of the Dave Matthews Band. Everything feels very, very in the pocket. Those long extended solo sections that we get in the lives, they don't really show their faces in the studio versions, which is definitely a big loss in that sense. But also because of how bite-sized everything is in the studio, it feels very digestible. And now this is obviously me after having listened to so much Dave Matthews live. where I can say the studios sound digestible, but I think even if I had started from the studios and moved towards the lives, I would make that same assertion. I like them both for very different reasons, I guess. Like this, I could feel like I could learn how to play this. The lives, I don't know if I could learn how to play that.
Come on, come on, baby. It's crazy. I'm thinking just as long as you're around and here, I'll be dancing on the ground. Am I right side up or upside down to each other? We'll be facing my love, we beat back the pain we've found. You know, I mean to tell you all the things I've been thinking, but deep inside, my friend, each moment, the more I love you.
God, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. The mixing, the electric guitar, Boyd, oh, the acoustic there, just every component. Electric guitar, violin, drums, flute, acoustic. Wow. I'm glad that they still solo in the studios. And the fade out. I'm very glad that they solo in the studios still, even though it's a shorter version, right? This kind of the abridged version of what we get live. It works remarkably well. I was about to tear up just in in that whole like ascension section where all of the instruments are just that's definitely one thing that I think is an underrated element of the Dave Matthews Band is their mixing. Their sound engineers, they are working overtime to make sure all of the instruments at their various moments of dynamically being high, low, loud blast of sound like the plosives and the more subdued, breathier tones across the board. They find a way to thread the needle such that you can hear every instrument as is intended. I rarely make the comment during Dave Matthews Band reactions where I'm like, I wish they turned that instrument up. I only rarely sometimes feel that about Tim, and I think that's just because I have a bias towards electric guitar and just guitar in general. But in general, their mixing is like perfect. You hear everything, and It's like, I've used this analogy before, but musical groundhogs. One instrument pops up, your attention goes towards that. The other pops up on the right headphone. You listen to that. Then in the center, you listen to that. In the back, things get louder and they move to the foreground, then back into the background. And they do so much with the spatial component of sound. Yeah, whoever's mixing and arranging, they deserve a raise for sure. So that was Crush. We have one more song to check out here. This is, again, number 41. This is a live performance in New Jersey. But before we do jump in, I just wanted to, casually ask you guys, if you'd like to request a reaction yourself, you can do so by clicking the first link in the description box below. But if you don't want to support my channel that way, you can do it anyway or just enjoy the content. That's good enough for me. All right, now let's jump in. I could listen to the song like forever. Same with Two Step. Same with Don't Drink the Water. Cortez the Killer. So many songs. Seek Up, yeah. Warehouse. So Damn Lucky.
I swear by now I'm playing time against my troubles.
Yeah.
I'm going slow, but sweet girl. Do you wish for a dancing while I'm in the front? My play on time.
seeing them so much younger, but still performing at this high level, it just goes to show that with time, dedication, continued effort, and just maturing musically, emotionally, all of those and more, you can transform every song into the best possible version of itself. It's almost like you have like children when you're creating music that you love and you nurture it, you care for it, and the child sometimes outgrows what you're able to teach it and it becomes its own thing. And you're just there to, just there to support and let it kind of fly free. So every version of number 41 that you hear past, let's say here, 1999, it's becoming more and more and more elevated, more and more mature and independent. But everybody on stage recognizes that. It is so cool. I've never thought of music as like being a child that you're raising, but for bands that stand the test of time, I think it makes sense. Juice in there. is a god. This makes me so happy, man.
Thank you.
There you have it. That is number 41, once again, by the Dave Matthews Band. Jesus Christ, man. Every day I do a Dave Matthews Band reaction, I feel like my heart just gets more and more full. I love that we started with Old Dirt Road, or Old Dirt Hill. I think Old Dirt Hill. I didn't expect the storytelling from Dave. I'd definitely be down to do more listen-alongs, because I didn't really say much at all, which I think is fine. I don't have to speak all the time. We can let the music and Dave speak for himself. I just like his storytelling. There's something in his delivery. It just feels like it's almost like spilling out of him, the story. It's very real. I can always appreciate authenticity from people that if I like watch people on YouTube or meet people in real life. I hate meeting people who are fake. Or at least I perceive to be fake. Maybe I don't know their inner story and all that good stuff, but there's something so real about Dave Matthews, and it's very earnest, and because he's so excellent in what he does and what the band does collectively, I'm down to hear everything this man says. So yeah, send more requests my way for story time with Dave Matthews. But then we had Crush again, such an amazing song, and in the studio version, it is different, of course, from the Central Park Live that we reacted to a long time ago. So in my head, I still hear some of the fills and melodic moments from the Central Park concert. But the fact that you hear other versions in the same version, it's like when you look at somebody, like, again, we'll use the analogy of a kid. They're young and then they're old. But as a parent, you still view them as they're young, and you do see them in their older age as well. So you witness all of their evolution as a person at the same time in one, let's say, cross section in the present moment. You're witnessing all of who they are and who they were and who they have to become. That's sort of what it's like when you get to hear all of these different versions. So we got that for Crush. We got another version of number 41 as well. It's very special, man. I'm really enjoying these reactions. I hope you are as well. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, my friends. Take care and peace.